Welcome to the EmpowerHer series. I'm your host, Jessica Jane. This series is all about real women, real stories, and real growth. Our stories have power, and when we share them, we remind others that they're never alone. Get ready to be inspired. This is EmpowerHer.
Hello, Sarah, and welcome to the fourth episode of Empower Her. I am super excited to have you on because I don't know much about your story yet, so I'm very excited to get to know you a little bit more and share it with the Empower Her community. But there's something that you have said to me that really resonated and made me think, oh my God, I so know what she means. And it's something so simple but so powerful. So I'm looking forward to you sharing that with others. So before we get started and dig a little bit deeper, can you just introduce yourself and let the Empower Her community know a little bit about you and your background?
Sure. Firstly, hi Jessica, and thank you so much for asking me and thinking of me. My name is Sarah Milmine, and I am the founder and creative director of Wonderlust, the label, which is a women's wear brand that we design and produce in the UK. Yeah, it's my passion.
I love that. And so this is where I'm really looking forward to digging deeper into your fashion brand. So can you tell us about your background, what led you into your own business with the fashion company?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I was one of those unfortunate people that didn't have great time at school. I left school when I was quite young. And although when I was really little, I'd always dreamt of being a fashion designer. Unfortunately, when you leave school with no sort of formal education, you haven't got a lot of options. And, I had to just go out and get a proper job somewhere. And I ended up working my way up through various admin jobs. I had a great role as um, working within enterprise for the local authority and helping people start their own businesses within certain communities. And then I went on to become creative director of a marketing company that was based in Richmond, which I did for years and years and years, and I loved. And I worked there until that brand was bought out by Saatchi. And after that, I found myself freelancing, doing creative, but digital design, branding, all the things that go hand in hand with that. And there were a number of things that came to a head. So after a couple of years after I'd had my son, I felt that I'd really started to lose my identity a bit. I was working from home, living in my pajamas, and I had a really, really small social circle. And these were all things that I was missing from going out to work every day, particularly the clothing aspect of it. And I also, unfortunately, lost a hard drive which had all of the work that I'd done for about 10 years on it, and it was absolutely destroyed. And I realized I put so much time, effort, and passion into things that were digital products. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to make physical things that you couldn't delete. So once you've made a dress, it lives in someone's wardrobe as opposed to, artwork, poster, anything that's sort of digital to me had lost its, not value, but its appeal. And I really wanted to actually put product into the world. But having never worked in fashion or having any idea how to start, I thought I would just have to start my own fashion brand, because that was the way that I would do it. And unlike most people who go into fashion, I just wanted to create a commercially passing fashion brand. I didn't want to be the face of it. I didn't want people to explore too much where it was being made, how it was being made. The idea was that you would walk into my shop and you would walk into Whistles, you would see a dress in there and you would see a dress with us. And I just wanted people to choose based on that, not based on anything else. And so people, when they discovered that it was, one person running the brand and we were producing it here, benefit as opposed to it was really about seeing if I could hold my own marketplace and doing something I've never done before. Mm-hmm. And that's how we kicked off the journey.
Amazing. I love that. And I love what you've said, because it really resonates with me actually, about your school life. I've got the same kind of background within my story actually. And I was led to believe without having a good education, I'd never have a good job. I'd never really be anything. And so it's great to see more people like that as well, that it just shows what you can accomplish. As long as you've got passion, that mindset, that drive to create something, it doesn't actually matter if you've not a piece of paper telling you you've got the best grades in the world. I love that you have just gone and done that for you, but not let that hold you back.
Yeah, and whilst it's not for everything, I think I would have gone on a very different path had I stayed on a traditional academic route. I would have just, fallen into the given path that so many people do. But I think when you have to really find opportunities and work to your strengths, and you find that it will take you on a completely different journey. And I think that's what shows, actually. It really does make a difference when you have to teach yourself things, learn for yourself. You're not, you just forge your own path. And I think that's one of the things why potentially I started my own business, or I've worked for myself for a huge number of years now. I can achieve whatever I want to achieve, but there's no sort of markers in place there's no career progression strategy that I'm looking at. I'm not looking at what other people are achieving, what other people are doing. I'm literally just focusing on what I'm doing and doing it to the best of my abilities and pushing myself as far as I can. Whereas I think in an office job, it's a different, you're more likely to get frustrated or burnt out, those sorts of things, comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it really, especially when you're running your own business as well, you've got that passion behind it as well, because you are doing it for your growth. You know what you're putting in and how you're looking after people, how you're connecting with people, and you've got to stay over that, which I love about running your own business as well. And I know you've mentioned how like you felt like you had lost your own identity, and I know a lot of mums especially will resonate with that, because I feel like when people do have children, they kind of just be mum. I know just is a silly word to use. It's not you're just mum, but they lose the rest of their identity, and that's kind of where they kind of feel like they belong now. So I know you also kind of felt like you had to go on your own empowerment journey first to really help empower others, women, and you've done that so naturally as well with the route that you've taken. So I feel like you always find that everything starts with yourself. You have to always come back to yourself first, and your self-growth, your self-love, your self-worth. And the better you are in that way, the better you can actually help others. But so do you feel like with going on your own journey there, how do you feel like that's impacted you and helped you actually now go into empowering other women as well?
It's really funny. The empowering other women is something that happened by chance that I was really quite unaware of. And it's only literally in the last couple of years that I've realised what an impact I've had on people further than I thought my remit had reached. I'll circle back to that in a minute. But funnily enough, talking about motherhood and things. So I had my delightful son 13 years ago. And I think I was surrounded with a lot of people who almost their identity became that they were mothers. As soon as they had a baby, that was their new passion project and everything. And don't get me wrong, my son is my world. But I didn't feel that I had intrinsically changed as a person. I was waiting for more, more to come, when I was a mum. But I was still me, doing all the things I wanted to do, still had the same dreams and thoughts. And I just had a little guy to come along and do it with me at the time. So I didn't really feel that just being a mum was potentially, I just didn't feel that it was a transformation in my life, this motherhood thing. And so I just wanted to lead by example. I don't think I've ever referred to myself as a mum entrepreneur. One of my customers the other day said to me, I didn't even realise you had kids. I was like, oh, well, they come to work, he's at work sometimes. But it was more about proving to myself that I could, or what I could achieve. I used to sew for fun and for a hobby. And I've always, like I said to you before, used clothes as a sort of armour. Not only that, I'd like to think of myself as a costume designer sometimes, because whenever I go into any situation, I think, oh, who do I want to embody? Who do I want to present myself as? And once I've got said outfit on, I'm good to go. And that, do I want to feel professional? Do I want to feel confident? Do I want to look fun? Do I want to be slutty? All of these things you should have in your wardrobe. So you can just put this thing, whatever it is that gives you that emotional armor, if you will. And then when I started making clothes, that was something that I really wanted to encourage people to adopt, and to have a few things in your wardrobe that make you feel something, that give you, certain characteristics that you feel, for example, you might be lacking in any sort of situation. And it's literally a box of tricks your wardrobe should be, and you can pull it out and you'll feel good to go. All the gear and no idea. But yeah, so my label, I used to say, was for grown-up girls, because that's very much what I felt like, and I still feel like, and I wasn't ready to sort of adopt sort of grown-up clothes and this idea. But I also realized I should probably stop shopping in New Look or whatever it was that I was doing at the time. I was a bit bored of Zara. And it developed. Initially, I empowered other women through providing employment opportunities and things like that. And these were the people that I really thought that I would have the biggest impact on. But it turned out to be my customer base. When we predominantly sold through retail as opposed to online. Over the last sort of 9 years, we've had lots and lots of shops, big, small, all the staff that worked in them, all the people that produced the clothes, all the girls that did digitals, all in-house. And it was a really, really nice opportunity that I felt that I could personally provide people with. And it was only when I closed the stores that I was inundated with messages of people I'd never really spoken to or met that had been in my shops and were saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, you really made me fall in love with myself again and fall in love with clothes. And you made me feel like me again. And I was just overwhelmed by all these messages at the time. And I was so close to actually giving up a couple of years ago. I'm still in a phase where I'm trying to find a way to structure the business that works in what has become a very quickly changing environment. If you think fashion 10, 12 years ago was so different to what it is now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do think, funnily enough, there is a bigger opportunity now for more personal styling, more thought given to what you wear and how that affects you. And whilst it's not for everybody, I think the people that love it, love it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what when I said at the beginning that you something to me that made me go, oh my God, I so get that. But it's so simple, but it's so true, is how clothes empower you and how you feel put certain clothes on. And so I love that you say like you use clothes like that kind of like armor. Because even just stuff like I could put a lovely, lovely dress on and I'd kind of look and be like, and then something as simple as then slipping into a pair of stilettos, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready
I'm all about the shoes, I'm not gonna lie. If I could make shoes, I would.
But putting stuff together and like you say, embodying what you're showing up as. Like when I've got something really nice on, pair of heels on, I've got my lipstick on, I hold myself better, I speak better, I show up as like I feel like an empowered woman. If I'm just lounging around in my joggers and a t-shirt and I haven't makeup, I'm not ready to show up to the world.
Exactly.
And sorry, carry on.
No, go.
I was just going to say, I've gone through so many different changes as well I feel like, and I don't know if it's like that personal growth thing that when you are having that personal growth and you're getting to your level you kind of thing, that I look at my wardrobe and I'm like, I need a new wardrobe. These clothes don't suit the right clothes for me anymore. I'm not there.
Yeah, I'm not in that phase.
Wardrobe. I love that. What was you going to say? Sorry.
I think there is a very, very special relationship between women and clothes. And to be fair, I think the majority of my customers are actually supremely confident, fantastic women. But what they tend to want from me is a bit of permission to get dressed up. They don't need the confidence to wear the things. They want someone to go, yeah, this can be you, that could be you. Yeah. And again, it's a very personal thing. What might make you feel and look great and glamorous might not work on somebody else. And it isn't a one size fits all thing. It's about how the clothes make you feel and then what you project off of the back of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe it's a bit, especially with women as well, is that dress up, you know, when you used to put your fancy dress clothes on as a kid and your little heels and things and dress up, I feel like it kind of reconnects you to those moments again, well, of again embodying something that maybe when we dressed up as little princesses, we wasn't a fairy tale princess, but you embodied that, you felt like a princess.
And you felt like you had the opportunities of a princess.
Yes.
Good things would happen to you, and you know, the dinner would be what you wanted and everything was better and your little sparkly mules. Whereas, it's so easy to get stuck in a rut. And I think it's what you project when you feel. So often people come up to me and say, you won't believe how many compliments I got on this dress. I'm not just blowing my own horn for the sake of it. But what I say to people, okay, the clothes are lovely. I make really nice clothes. But it's the way you're carrying yourself wearing that dress is what people are noticing, if I'm going to be honest. Like they've probably seen leopard print dresses. But you're walking around thinking, I'm dressed, I look good, I feel confident. And people gravitate towards that and they go, oh my God, you look amazing. And it isn't actually the dress. It's how you feel wearing the dress. And I love that for people, that people get to feel special in the clothes. And I think that's what's important. I think sometimes we need to feel special inside to project that externally. Otherwise, it is just a bit of a shell.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that. I love that you're getting that, you're finding that people are coming back and sharing that impact it's with them.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Such a lovely journey to be a part of as well, isn't it? When you see how much of a difference you make into somebody's life. And especially if you don't even really realizing it, you're like, well, this is just what I do. Like,
yeah.
So that's lovely. And do you have any tips for people watching? Is there any tips that you would give to say how you can use clothes for empowerment? Like any typical things like certain colors that would reflect this or certain clothing that would reflect this? Is there any kind of ground rules of this is how you should do it from it kind of thing?
100% not. No, there are absolutely no rules, because what works for one person doesn't work for another. And you have to also find what you feel you're lacking in.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you're lacking in powerful clothes, colourful clothes, all of those sorts of things, what make you feel your best? And these things shouldn't overwhelm your wardrobe. There's no, it's there's an element of what looks good on you and what suits you and what's flattering. I mean, some people look 11 out of 10 in a blazer. Other people look like they're going to their first job interview at 16. Do you remember when we had to go and do work experience and you had your Dorothy Perkins suit jacket? And some people just don't, that might not be their professional look, but it's finding out what works for people. And it takes a bit of time. And as I said, it's quite an individual thing. One of my favorite things is when people come in and they have an idea in their head of what they want to project, if you like, but maybe the clothes that they would gravitate towards that might not reflect that. But it's really amazing to go, actually, have you tried this and this? And I thought, I never would have worn that. And then one of the best things about retail was the social element of the shopping, because I didn't have to do much work, or the girls in the shop didn't have to, because more often than not, someone would come in and look at something and somebody would be in there going, oh my God, I bought that. Here I am wearing it, and I wore it with this and this and this, and I wore it here and I did this. And people just used to have all this dialogue around it. I laugh, and I was like, it's like a cult, but it's not a cult. But it makes sense from the inside, and the people who love it are so passionate about it. But it is almost like rewiring your mindset. I also think nowadays we get so caught up in this influencer culture, which I'm not personally not a huge fan of. Because often people go, oh, I bought this dress and it came and I didn't, I hated it. And I was like, well, what made you buy the dress? And, oh, I really, really liked the dress. And I was like, oh, it's a bit weird because it's got, one sheared shoulder or something. And they said, oh, I didn't really notice that. And I said, yes, because you're looking at the person in the photo, and whatever she's giving off, you want that. You think she looks effortless, or you think she looks ambitious, or you think she looks established or fun. And you bought that dress thinking you would look like that. And you're disappointed because you don't. And that's nobody's fault. But you need to find what you want from that photo, because it isn't a red dress with one shoulder. It's what she's channeling. When you look at that picture, you're not really looking at the dress. You just think, I want to be her. And yeah, you can give off whatever she's giving off, but don't assume just putting on the same thing as her will do that. So it's really about learning how to utilize your clothes as tools.
A great kind of advice, really. I've never even thought of it that way myself, to be honest. So it's more like tuning into what you want to, how you want to feel, how you want to show up. And then dress for that, to what suits you in that moment. And that's not the same for everybody.
100%, you have got it. Because not everybody wants to show up the same way. You know what I mean? Like, we all have things that we feel that we might want to project over other things, and certainly in different situations. And I was looking back through some photographs, and whenever I have to go to a meeting at school or my solicitors, I always wear trousers and I always wear cream, because I feel that makes me look serene and professional. And it's funny, when I was just looking back, and that's like my grown-up glam, and I feel people are going to take me very seriously, but I also look very but I would never wear that to drinks with friends. I would wear something completely different. And it's how I want to feel in that moment. But if I turned up in my very high heels and a miniskirt to the school meeting, I would behave like I do in high heels and a miniskirt, which is probably not appropriate for the school meeting, but it means that I never feel sort of out of place. It's almost like having a mini uniform. But it's also not a uniform in terms of what everyone else is wearing. It's I've got to go and put this hat on or that hat on. And I always feel like me, but I feel like professional me or fun me or... So it's staying authentic to yourself as well, isn't it? Not just trying to fit in or be like somebody else, be authentic to you. And that goes back again to working for myself and perhaps maybe struggling a bit at school. I never want to be dressed like other people, because I don't want to be compared to other people. I want to stand alone, whether people like it or not. That's just who I am. But they won't be like, oh, she looks better in that dress than you. I was talking to some friends. We were getting ready for Halloween parties, actually. And one of my friends had lots of ideas about what she wanted to wear. And then eventually we'd settled on a look. And then she went, well, I don't think it's probably what everyone else is going to be wearing. And I was like, brilliant. Because if you guys all turn up in the same sort of outfit, someone's going to look amazing and someone's going to look awful. I'm not going to lie. So wear your own thing and just own that. Don't worry too much about what other people are going to wear at all. That's never a concern of mine, for sure. I'm always like, what are you wearing? Because I don't want to look too overdressed compared to everybody else, or underdressed compared to everybody else. Now, overdressed. I'm scared. I'm always the overdressed. You just dress like you, but don't you feel wouldn't you rather be that person than turn up and everyone's dressed up and you feel like, just not you?
Yes.
Even
Yeah.
if everyone's super cash, you might just not, it doesn't, often if people are really dressed up, I'll be in like jeans, just because, I'll dress my jeans up with a fun top, or if everybody's wearing tracksuit bottoms, I'll be there in a skirt, just because it's how I want to feel on an occasion.
And I have learned that now with recruiters always going, what are you wearing? Because I don't want to just dress down and then not feel my best self in that moment because everybody else is drowned. I'm going to go how I feel good. And if that means I'm dressed compared to everybody else, it doesn't matter. I feel good.
And then if you've got things in your wardrobe that just make you feel good, then you don't really need to worry too much about stressing about what you're going to wear. And I always say to people, I know everyone goes, oh, buy less, but choose well. It's easier said than done. But I have access to more clothes than, I could dress armies of people with the things that I have, and I can make anything I want. And I tend to gravitate towards the same 6 to 12 outfits because I look good, they suit me, I look my best, and no one ever goes, you look like you have very limited resources when it comes to clothing. The reality is, everyone always goes, oh, you look really nice. And I'm like, yeah, just because I only wear the things that make me look good. I'm not worried if it's what's trendy or what other people are wearing. No one seems, people will notice how you feel projecting what you do in clothes that make you feel good.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not too bothered about trends, about style, about season. There's certain things, like we've always done leopard print from the get-go just because I really like it. And some people, it will go in phases. Some people are like, oh my God, it's so cool. It's everywhere. Rat and Boa have got it. And then some seasons they'll be like, oh no, there's no leopard print at the moment. And I'm like, I couldn't give two stuffs. Like that's it's part of our signature style. And I think we also are lacking brands that have identity.
Yeah.
And I think that's become a massive problem. Certainly when I was growing up, River Island was super boho. There was Morgan and Kukai, which is slightly slutty. There was H&M, which was really clean, tailored, like fairly cheap workwear. And these all had tribes, and you knew what you were getting from each shop. And I feel that nowadays every shop is so on trend, so seasonal, that if it's mustard coloured flares, 70s purple feather boas that are on trend, you can buy that in Harvey Nichols, you can buy it in Sainsbury's, you can buy it in Zara, you can spend as much or as little money. But if you want a black dress, everyone's like, oh, it's just not black dress season, sorry. And that frustrates me. So our style doesn't tend to change too much. And the people that like what we do, but it won't be suddenly, jod per season.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I know you've also mentioned how community and running yourself by like-minded people is a big thing for you. And that's another thing that really resonates with me, and something that's really helped me within my business is surrounding myself with like-minded women, people that are uplifting each other, got the same kind of mindset, go in the same kind of places, all very positive and inspiring. So how do you feel like kind of putting yourself around that kind of community has helped you both personally but professionally within the biz as well?
So I think that it's one of those things when you look back and reflect, you see the impact it's made on your life, but maybe at the time you don't notice it so much. But I will always gravitate towards fabulous, positive people, and I will want to be with them, and I will leech energy off them, because I think it's such a lovely thing to surround yourself with, people that have the same spirit as you. Yeah. And I think that's another reason that I felt so strongly about having like an ethos behind the brand. So we're all about casual glamour. But it means that, and retail as well, like bricks and mortar locations, because it meant that everybody who had a similar mindset, that liked a similar thing. To be fair, I think that clothes represent so much more. So we all tend to like the same music or the same movies and have the same reference points. And there's something really, really comforting about having an environment you can go into and feel that you're surrounded by like-minded people. I think nowadays we do have to be very, very careful, what you say in front of who and how you present yourself to who, and you really don't want to I think perhaps maybe people are a bit overly sensitive, especially when there is such stress put on inclusiveness, and there should be something for everybody. But I personally don't think that works. And I sometimes get emails from people or communication people go, oh, well, your clothes aren't really for me, or I would never wear that, or you don't cater to me. And I say to them, that's brilliant, because that means that there's an opportunity for you to go on and build exactly what you're looking for. And I can say that because I did. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think people get so caught up and upset about fast fashion these days. But I actually honestly think it's the consumer's fault, because we do have an expectation that we want tons of newness in every size, in every price point available. Because people go, I just wanted this to try it on and it wasn't there. Would you have bought it? Probably not. But you just want to know that you could have. And I just think that trying to please everybody all the time, it really, really takes away from what's special about clothes.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, because things are cyclical, there will be an opportunity to go back to having value in something that maybe you have to wait a little longer for, maybe you have to pay a little more for. But once you own it, it really, we'll buy a 5-packet t-shirt at Tesco at the till, and they'll sit in our wardrobe. Much like, do you remember when carrier bags were free and you'd open up cupboards and be attacked by carrier bags? And if someone had told me then, no, you'll be stood in Waitrose choosing your £1.50 shopping bag, I'd have said, no, mate, I'd never pay money for a shopping bag. And now people open their wardrobes and are attacked by clothes. And when someone says, oh, you just need, maybe some new clothes, I'm like, no, I have more clothes than anything else. But they've lost their value because you have so many of them. They have no attachment to you, and people have maybe forgotten what dressing up is for, or fashion is for. It's become like toothpaste, like FMCG. You just go online, white t-shirt, 600, buy one, £5, whatever. And that's not, I don't think it's healthy.
I think there's so much fast fashion now, isn't there, that it's just so easy to accumulate so much and hold on to it and be, what I haven't worn it in 10 years, but I might wear it.
Exactly. And for another example was, I was out shopping with my mum and I picked up, I very rarely buy clothes because, I have so many, or we make them, But I saw this jumper and I tried it on, and it didn't look like I thought it was going to. I think we were in TK Maxx. And I was like, my mum said, well, how much is it? I said, it's like £12.99. She said, oh, get it, it's just £12.99. I said, that's the problem though, mummy, because if every time I see something that I'm on the fence about, that's only £12.99, I'll buy 5 of these. I won't look after them. I won't care about them. I'll wear them twice. I would much rather have one £70 jumper that does not end up screwed up in a ball on the footwell of my car. If someone's looking queasy, I don't go, oh, throw up on me, it was only £12. Like, I want to wear nice things that make me want to take care of myself. And, all the nice things I have, I hang up on my chair at the end of the day. Everything that I didn't pay money for, I don't treat very nicely. And there is no reason, because it was still time and effort. And, you should only buy things that you value. And it doesn't even matter about the price of them. It's about how important they are to you.
Yeah, definitely. I do, because I have things like that where I've got cheaper kind of clothes, but then I've got clothes that I've spent a lot of money on, and I just take more pride in, and I even feel a bit more special in them, and I feel so much nicer, and I'm like, I feel so good in this. And so it does definitely, and I think with, like you said, with the whole fashion side and how easy it is, it loses that value, and you don't take pride in things as much. So it doesn't have any meaning to you more anyway. So yeah, I love that. Just a side note, actually, I was wondering what with your brand name, Wonderlust, what led you to that? Is there any meaning behind that for you?
So it's so funny. So, I've always harbored the idea of having a fashion label. All my life, I thought, oh, one day maybe I'll have a fashion label, since I was little. So very quickly, I'm actually in Egypt now visiting some family. When I was very young, I used to come here, and my grandmother used to have an atelier where they used to hand bead all these clothes and things. So I've, been surrounded by beautiful clothes from a young age. And I know people can make clothes and those sorts of things. It wasn't like a magical mystery. People go to me, how do you make clothes? I'm like, just, needle and thread. So, but I've never had a name for a fashion brand that resonated with me. I didn't want it to be my name. But as I said, I used to work in marketing and branding. And just before I started, I was on a call with some people, and we were floating the idea of the name Wonderlust. But obviously the German spelling of Wonderlust, it was to do with the travel brand. This is about 15 years ago. And someone had mistyped it in the meeting notes, and it said Wonderlust spelt with an O. And everyone was laughing. It's not Wonderlust, it's Wanderlust. And I was like, oh, Wonderlust. I was like, that's what I'm going to call my brand. And Wonderlust to me, and people are like, oh, I know what it means. It's the love of adventure and travel. And I'm like, no, that's a different thing. This is wonder, like wonderful, or things like awe. And Wonderlust to me is a feeling that when you when you try to put something on and you just feel special, just feel transformed. And that to me is Wonderlust. It's this idea of opportunity. You could, when you put on, back in the day when, you used to go shopping on a Saturday with your friends. I remember begging my friends to go to the pub just so I could wear my, whatever I'd bought that day in Jane Norman. I was like, please, can we just go out anywhere? Because I'm so desperate to wear this new thing because I feel so special. And I'm sure it'll be the night that a guy will wander in and see me in his backless ghost dress at Wetherspoons and everything will be all right. And that to me is Wonderlust, this, the transformational feeling that you have, this just,
Oh, I love
this
that.
little and frisson of fun, and and it's wonderful, and lust, it just is, it's just hits a bit harder.
I love that. So just finishing up there, what does empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment to me specifically is leading by example. I don't think it's about telling people how to empower themselves. I think it's about showing people what you can achieve if you put your mind to it. It's also not about not failing, it's about trying and also being really transparent about some things work and some things don't. But it's not, there's no magic fairy godmother that's going to come and make you the best version of you. And if you can't find the best version of you, get someone to help you find the best version of you, your friend, through clothes, through all sorts of things. And then even if you don't want to do it for you, do it for the people behind you, do it for your children, do it for your friends, next generation. They'll look up to you and think, oh, if she's done that, maybe I can do that too.
Yeah.
And I think if we all put that in, and it's a non-competitive thing, it's just I gave it a go, why don't you give it a go too?
Yeah.
It's not about a right way to do things or a wrong way to do things or things that you have to be able to empower other people. We all have strengths and we all have things. And I think if we all try to lead by example, I get inspired by people all the time that have, I'm empowered by the women that I spend time with for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I love to find that I, in turn, empower others. But not just women. I like the fact that I empower show my son that I can run a business and take care of people. And I mean, we had shops in Spencer Centres, Westfield, like huge things for a one-man band. It was quite an achievement. But he saw how hard it was and it didn't fall into my lap. So have my friends, my family, and it just shows that if you are passionate about something and you work hard, why not?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I love that. And I've absolutely loved your story, and I've loved how it's all unfolded and how you've, from dreaming of being a fashion designer, now you are. I absolutely love that. So I'm sure everybody's going to take so many great points away from this podcast.
Well, something useful.
I'm sure they will, and I will tag your label into it as well, so people know kind of.
Please do.
So follow your clothing brand and stuff as well. So thank you so much for coming on EmpowerHer, and especially when you're all the way in Egypt at the moment as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Anyway, it was so nice to talk to you, Jess. Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your time away, and I will catch up with you soon.
I will do. Thank you so much, my lovely.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.